The Brothers Karamazov, Book 4, Chapter 4. Alyosha has made his way in this book from Chapter 1, the bedside of Father Zosima, to Chapter 2, the bedside of his father, biologically, Fyodor, to the roadside and this young boy who threw a rock at 6 boys and who eventually bit Alyosha's finger. Now, Alyosha has finally made his way to his third intended destination of the day, and that is Madame Hohlakov's house. And he has a message and a conversation to be had with Katerina that is not had until the next chapter. He is stopped by Madame Hohlakov even before he enters the house, and she's all dramatic on 2 fronts. She's dramatic about how Dmitri and Grushenka and Katerina behaved the previous day, and she's dramatic about how Ivan and Katerina are really in love and they're not acting on it. So she's in a major tizzy and being all histrionic and maybe even pearl clutching about the Katerina issues and her drama. And then she's also clutching pearls. She's also being exaggerating and using hyperbole in talking about her daughter Lise and how she has been behaving. And so she just unloads all of this on Alyosha, who, suffice to say, has had a pretty tough last 36 hours or so, but she doesn't care. She just unleashes it all on Alyosha as he walks in, doesn't even give him a chance to say, hey, I've only got 9 fingers here and I'm squirting blood all over the place with this 10th finger. And anyway, here she is, overly concerned about all of these issues. And so Alyosha does his best to placate and say, that's what I'm here about as regards to the first issue. And then he's able to mention, hey, by the way, I'm bleeding out here. Can we get this taken care of? And so then that gives her a third thing to be dramatic about. No matter how serious a finger injury, a finger cut, a laceration can be, it's still just a finger. And so she gets completely overwrought by this and is talking about emergency rooms and rabidness and doctors on call and the like, when we're really just talking at the end of the day here about a bloody finger. Her exit to go get clean water and soap to clean out this wound and get this Alyosha all stitched up and on his way, gives Lise a chance to talk to Alyosha alone. And so Lise has slipped him a note that professed her love, her always, since I was a little girl, I've loved you. And if you'll remember, at the very end of Book 3, that's how it closed, with the most emotional, pressing, philosophical, personal hurts and all of the world a mess. Alyosha carrying the burden of all those he loves in mess, and the one person whose life isn't a mess is dying, Father Zosima. At the very end of the chapter, he reads that note from Lise and smiles and is able to sleep soundly because this little immature, physically handicapped, disabled girl has professed her love for Alyosha. And so now they get a chance with Madame Hohlakov off getting soap and water. Lise and Alyosha get a chance to hash it out. And so how does Lise handle it? Well, she handles it in the least woman, least mature adult way. And when I was growing up, I had a friend of mine who, anytime we were having anything remotely resembling a serious conversation, didn't matter what time of the day it was, what season it was, he would say something and he would say it with a yawn. And I thought, it's strange that this person could be tired this much. And then I realized, even as a high school boy, he says everything everything that would require any commitment or maturity to say. He says it with a yawn, and he's trying to kind of take off some of the personal onus, the personal responsibility in what he said by saying, oh, I don't really mean this that much because I'm just yawning. In other words, it's a way to try to play it safe and not put yourself out there, not be courageous, not risk yourself. In fact, there's a president of the United States who would tweet, and rather than just saying what he wanted to say, he would preface his tweets by saying, people are saying. And so that these are passive aggressive, these are kind of childish ways to relate, to say, oh, I was just joking, or to say what you need to say in a yawn, or to say what you need to say by putting it in the people are reporting, or people are saying, or many people I've talked to have said this, rather than just saying, you know what, this is my opinion, and I'm gonna go with it. And so that's who Lise is. Lise says, oh, I was just kidding. I didn't mean any of it, which is obviously the most transparent, the most see-through excuse you could ever make. That doesn't even make sense. Why would you write a love letter that was just a joke? It doesn't even make sense. And Alyosha, being even though he's young, he's a mature Christian man, is able to say, no, I meant it. When I got that letter from you, I treasured it. That seemed like a great thing, that we would get married. And I enjoyed having your letter. And so Lise is not mature enough to be able to express her love, and Alyosha is. Now this, kind of like the previous chapter, this chapter on its own merit, just sitting right here, does not seem at all significant. That's basically what happens in the chapter, but it's going to pay off not in the immediate next chapter, but in just 2 and 3 chapters ahead, as Lise is going to stand in contrast. So as we meet a family in the much lower class, a family in the slums will go into their household that is not gorgeous and the third house of Madame Hohlakov, but this is a family almost starving to death because they're so poor, and will meet a disabled girl in their household, and will contrast her with Lisa's character. Much like the previous chapter, we see how boys on the street are behaving, and real injury and real harm and real stabbing and real rocks and real insults are being hurled with the lower class and the boys in poverty out on the street. And then immediately in this chapter, we're contrasted with the fake high class, the fake first world problems of someone like Madame Hohlakov being dramatic about Katerina and Lise. Much like that contrast took place between the previous chapter and this, with the 2 different social classes, that's going to happen, and it's going to be very obvious that that's what Dostoevsky is doing, as we really are going to meet Lise's diametrical opposite. Similar in physical challenges, similar in physical handicaps, but the maturity that has wrought in the young lady we'll meet in the future stands in stark contrast to the Lise we meet in this chapter, who was unable just to say one mature adult thing, which is, I care about you, Alyosha, I really love you. She can't do that because she is still a child, and the reason that's a problem, again, we go back to Father Zosima's teaching, that the fundamental thing about being able to love another person is first to be able to be honest with yourself. And if you're not honest with yourself, you can't be honest with those who you are seeking to love. And so Lise is not she's not an ideal Christian candidate, at least according to Father Zosima's teaching. And so that's the importance, I think. Look for Lisa's opposite. Look for her good twin, and look for her not to be the evil twin, but the less than ideal twin.